Don't you see? We don't have to run away anymore. I have brought peace to the Republic. I am more powerful than the Chancellor. I can overthrow him. And together, you and I can rule the galaxy. Make things the way we want them to be.
To Anakin's shock, Padme looks horrified at this and begins to back away. She moves towards the ship as a second figure emerges.
Certain of that, are you, young one?
The small Jedi readies his lightsaber. Anakin's surprise turns into anger as he looks at Padme.
You brought him here?
Came on my own, I did. Leave the Senator out of this, you will.
The anger within Anakin begins to boil over as he channels the Force, but Yoda is faster and throws him back. Anakin snarls, drawing his lightsaber. The small Jedi is already sliding out of the way as his weapon flashes at lightning pace, meeting all of Anakin's attacks before a kick sends Anakin stumbling. The younger fighter's eyes widen. Yoda is faster than any Jedi he's fought, and his small body makes a difficult target. Each time Anakin attacks, he only seems to hit air. Yoda leaps and bounds around Anakin, giving him little space to move or catch his breath as he pushes him away from Padme and towards the facility. Unfortunately, the Sith apprentice can do little but move where Yoda directs him. Eventually, his frustration builds, and he sends a powerful shockwave. This time, it does throw Yoda back, stumbling as he tries to regain his footing. Anakin takes the opportunity to thrust his hands out. Yoda mimics the attack, and the Force collides, trapped in a battle of wills between the two of them. The platform between them begins to shatter from the pressure, starting to shake before breaking apart as panels fall off. But at last, Anakin is overpowered by Yoda. Yoda goes on the offense, leaping over the gaps as his lightsaber comes alive in his hands. His attacks are like lightning, leaving Anakin on the defensive. He rolls aside and gets to his feet, trying to back away from the relentless attack. However, his foot snags against the loose plating, sending him stumbling over the edge. Yoda does not hesitate and leaps after him. Tucking his body tightly, Yoda passes Anakin and lands on the ground before Anakin can catch him. The Sith looks in surprise as he hovers in the air, but then is shoved against the ground and pressed there, digging into the dirt. He screams as the warm ground presses against him.
Strong you are in the dark side, but not so strong. Only the weak follow the dark side.
And only fools follow the path of the Jedi after seeing how blinded they are.
The words stir something in Yoda, who hesitates. For a moment he seems hurt, and then recalls what Qui-Gon Jinn told him during his meeting, and slowly hesitates.
Many mistakes the Jedi have made, but not allow Palpatine to rule, we shall. See what your attachment has brought.
My attachment is all I have. I would do it all again to save Padme.
Know this, I do. A fool for not seeing it earlier, I was. Of her, the visions you spoke of were.
Yoda hobbles around, pondering this.
Anakin, those visions, sent by Palpatine, they were. A dark side power used for manipulation, it was. Save and protect Padme, I will. Release your attachment to this outcome, you must. Not too late it is to right your way.
Palpatine sent them this whole time? I don't believe you. He wouldn't.
Let your attachment to any one outcome go. See how this situation unfolds, and clearer your path will become.
Anakin listens to this offer and can hardly contain his surprise. He was fully expecting Yoda to finish him off, but this deal is generous. Almost too generous. But he has little choice and nods his head. Yoda drops him to the ground, but takes his lightsaber. True to his word, Yoda accompanies them back to the medical station with Padme. To her relief, she sees Anakin is okay, and when the birthing process happens, both are by her side, providing support through the process. When the time comes, she's able to give birth to a healthy set of twins. Anakin holds up his children and smiles, but the relief is short-lived, as a second thought runs through his mind. Padme was under threat, and she was supposed to die from this. Although Yoda was present, he did not do anything to save her.
No, this can't be right. She was in danger. My visions.
As I said, misguided your visions have become. Influenced by the dark side to tempt you they were.
His expression changes from confusion to horror as he hears this. Anakin shakes his head and sinks back into his seat and buries his hands into his face. The realization hits him that everything he did, that Palpatine asked him to do, and all his promises have been false.
How can I have been so blind? The Jedi, the younglings, the innocent lives.
Yes, terrible deeds you have done. But atonement is at hand. The Chosen One, much training you still need.
Leaving Padme to go into hiding with their children, Yoda takes Anakin with him to Dagobah, where they begin their training. There he reveals that when Anakin helped him escape the temple weeks ago, he entered a journey to learn more about the living Force. Guided by Qui-Gon's ghost, he began to learn from the Force itself. Now he is going to show Anakin what he learned.
But why are you willing to teach me this? After everything I've done.
Rise Palpatine did not because of one person. Share the blame, I do. Now fix this mistake. We shall,
Anakin nods, and they begin their training in earnest. It is both similar and completely different to his training in the Jedi Order. Anakin also spent much of his time meditating, but it was less to clear his mind and more to feel the galaxy around him. It is why Yoda chose Dagobah as their training area. The planet is full of life and offers an opportunity to connect with countless beings. Instead of just the strict rules of forgoing all attachments, Yoda now taught Anakin to embrace the connections with all beings. He taught him to harness that feeling with all life. It is through that training that Anakin learns how to manage his emotions. As he allows this connection to build, he also learns to project his being into them. His consciousness, emotions, and will flow across all life. However, even with this training, Anakin cannot shake off the darkness inside himself. Even after their months of training, Yoda senses the anger and darkness just below his surface. Even with his immense skill and growing ability, it never goes away and threatens to undermine his progress. It is the same thing that nearly destroyed him last time. This time, Yoda decides to confront the problem properly. He places Anakin in his hut while he prepares a strange liquid from a cauldron. Yoda begins to pour ingredients into the pot, mixing them until its contents turn a sickly green. He fishes out a cup and hands it to Anakin.
Ready you are. Drink, you must.
Anakin eyes the concoction warily, but nods. Taking the cup, Anakin drinks deeply.
Face your shadow, you will. The dark side, powerful, yes, but within, greater strength lies.
As he finishes speaking, Anakin feels his vision blur before blacking out, leaving him in darkness and his head swimming. When he does wake up, he finds himself in a strange, darkened version of the planet. It's jagged and mist-covered where trees twist and writhe, but he then feels a dark presence behind him.
You know why you are here.
Anakin spins around. Before him stands a shadowy figure, cloaked in darkness, but unmistakably familiar. The figure steps forward, revealing itself. It's him, but twisted. His face is gaunt and pale, eyes glowing with fiery hatred. Craving, no, satiating for power, alongside thoughts of domination. Darth Vader, the part of Anakin that craves power, that seeks control.
I am what you could be, what you should be.
Anakin clenches his fists, feeling the searing heat of anger rise inside him. He reaches for his lightsaber and readies himself.
I am not you. You're a monster.
A monster? No. A god. You could rule the galaxy, command armies, bend the very Force itself to your will. Why serve when you could control?
Vader extends his hand, and with a flick of his wrist, the creatures of Dagobah, the snakes, the swamp lizards, begin to hiss and writhe, drawn to his power. But then they twist and shudder as Vader forces his will upon them, forcing them to bend down.
Control them. Make them yours, just as you can make the galaxy yours.
The ground rumbles as the creatures slither toward Anakin. But rather than face them, Anakin leaps up and attacks Vader. Vader responds by blocking his attack, his crimson lightsaber snapping to life. The two are locked together until Anakin shoves him back. He goes on the offense, throwing vicious attacks on the Dark Lord, the righteous fury burning bright in him. But his shadow self fights just as hard, blocking every attack and mirroring his movements to defend against each move. They quickly prove equally matched, as nothing Anakin does lands a blow. Instead, Vader continues to advance and begins pushing him back. The shadowy figure seems relentless, never faltering even as Anakin begins to tire from his attacks.
I don't need power to control life.
You failed her because you were weak. You can no longer see her because you failed.
Anakin falters, almost giving Vader a chance to strike at him. He lunges forward and nearly slashes Anakin across the chest, but the Jedi blocks his attack at the last second. However, the words leave him rattled and put him on the defense. Vader senses this and presses forward, moving slowly, but his attacks are measured and strong. With each blow, he stumbles back, slamming against the trees.
You can't win, Anakin. I am you. I am what you want, what you need.
Anakin breathes heavily, doubling over as his vision begins to blur. Vader continues to advance, forcing him to backpedal. He briefly wonders why he is doing this. Why is he still fighting? And then one word comes to his mind. Padme. He sees Padme's face in his mind, smiling on Naboo with his children, the future he wanted, and what he was prepared to give up everything for.
No. I don't need you.
His lightsaber suddenly comes up and blocks Vader's next attack.
I don't need to control everything. I don't need you.
Without me, you are nothing.
Without you, I'm free. Suddenly, the shadow of Vader begins to flicker, his form wavering. Anakin's calm is overpowering the darkness within him.
You are a part of me, but that is all you will ever be. Because I will never allow you to control me again. All that matters is Padme.
Vader lets out a roar as Anakin thrusts his lightsaber into his chest, and the image shatters into pieces. Anakin gasps as he is thrust back into reality, sweat dripping down his face. He looks around. Yoda was beside him, silent but watchful.
Strong you have become. Learned you have. This path is now yours to walk.
I'm ready.
Ready you are.
In the once proud Jedi temple, squads of stormtroopers patrol the halls. But for Anakin and Yoda, sneaking past them is easy as they move through the hidden passageways, taking out patrols and ambushing guards to try and retake the temple. However, as he walks through the halls he called home for a decade, he feels the memories of his actions coming back and distracting him. He quickly shakes off those thoughts from his mind and remembers that he must focus. The two continue about their task, wiping out entire patrols until their actions become impossible to conceal. By now, the Imperial security forces must have noticed and will call for reinforcements. The stormtroopers they send are little match for them, and the more fall, the stronger the dark side grows, until it becomes impossible to conceal. That can only mean one thing. The Chancellor is coming.
Begun the confrontation has.
Anakin's face hardens as he prepares for what is to come. From the landing pad, a private ship lands and a hooded figure steps out. His eyes narrow as he spots the pair approaching him.
So, the traitor returns along with the prodigal apprentice.
His fingers twitch with anticipation as he observes the two, dark energies flowing through their tips. Anakin tightens his grip on his lightsaber, his heart racing, but Yoda gives an encouraging nod, trying to tell him it's going to be okay if they stand together. With a snarl, Palpatine raises his hands, and a torrent of Sith lightning erupts from his fingertips, arcing across the room toward Anakin. Both Yoda and Anakin are ready, crossing their lightsabers and deflecting them aside. Rather than just defend themselves, they begin redirecting it, letting it arc in a circle before flying back towards Palpatine, who raises his lightsaber defensively.
Impressive. but it is not enough.
Unleashing an unearthly snarl, Palpatine rushes forward. Anakin feels a surge of fear, but beats back this trick and rushes to meet Palpatine head-on. Their lightsabers clash, illuminating the night with their weapons. Then Anakin feels something overhead as Yoda leaps over him and tries to slash Palpatine from behind. The Emperor barely whirls around and blocks the attack, though it divides his attention. This allows Anakin to unleash a burst of the Force that sends the Chancellor skidding across the ground. Before he can attack again, Yoda leaps up once more. Rather than move head-on, he slides under the Emperor's feet and whirls from side to side, forcing the Emperor to defend against these unconventional attacks. Anakin meanwhile goes high and swings his lightsaber in a vicious slash at Palpatine's head. The two begin to corner the Emperor against one of the trees in the temple, their lightsabers shearing against the bark. Seeing this, Palpatine dances aside and uses the Force to pull it down and then throw it forward. This forces the pair to dive out of the way to avoid getting crushed. Palpatine takes the opportunity to focus on Anakin. The younger Jedi charges forward, meeting his attack in a series of blinding strikes, creating sparks of storm. Yoda watches this as he approaches, eyeing the ebb and flow of the battle. Then finally Palpatine finds an opening. The Emperor throws Anakin back and sends him flying against the landing pad. He follows up by throwing another bolt of Force lightning. However, Anakin is ready for it and catches the electricity in midair. He feels it coursing through him and then condenses it into a ball before letting it dissipate. Palpatine advances on him, but Yoda is close behind.
Skywalker, now!
He thrusts his hand out, and Anakin does the same, their Force powers meeting with Palpatine in the middle. He snarls in anger, his calm appearance melting away as he feels the power pressing against him. Palpatine channels his own Force powers, attempting to prevent being crushed. However, he can do little, for the landing pad around him begins to shake violently. The ground begins to crack and fracture.
Do this and you give in to your anger. You will become everything you hate, just like me.
Your manipulation won't work anymore, Emperor. I am one with myself. The dark side will never prevail.
Instead of anger, Anakin feels a sense of justice, thinking of Padme, Luke, Leia, what he's fighting for. He throws his hands out, followed by a fresh barrage, crushing the landing pad to suddenly give way and crumble off the side of the temple. As it happens, Anakin leaps over Palpatine onto safety, while the Emperor falls over the edge screaming. Shortly after, his ship explodes, painting an orange and red flower of fire that blossoms in the darkness. The two Jedi stare at one another, panting slowly, then deactivate their lightsabers and share a smile.
A great victory this is, but much there is to do. Come, finish off the stormtroopers we must. And after, need your help in rebuilding the Jedi Order, I do.
That is a generous offer, Master, but I must refuse. For now, I would like to return to my family.
Yoda observes him for a moment, then smiles. He offers his hand to Anakin, a final handshake between two heroes of the galaxy. Anakin smiles back and grabs Yoda's hand, filled with pride as both realize he's fulfilled the prophecy. That's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.